Welcome to the Smokin Rope Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Basor, and today is episode 91. And we have on the show today Kyle Cohee from Lighten Up Provisioning and Micro Buttery. And I do looking forward to the definition of micro buttery. So, Kyle, thanks for being on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Yep, and sorry for the late start, everyone. We're having a little technical difficulties, but we're making it through. And I want to say welcome to Tom up in God's country. How's it going, Tom?
Oh, going great, man. Looking forward to talking to Kyle. We've been working with Lighten Up for a few years, and I'm excited to see what they got going on.
Sweet. Yeah, looking forward to get some real leaf redemption flower in there. I got a call tomorrow with you guys, Kyle, so it'll be good. And then Kevin at True. Kevin, what's happening?
Rain, lots of it, man. So we're battling again. Our building likes to leak when it rains, so
Oh man,
we got to get that parking lot fixed. But it's a summer thing, so we're still battling it. But we're getting through, and everything else is good. So yeah, glad to have Kyle on the show.
Yeah, no, it's always a great perspective, and I'm excited today to talk about. I also wanted to show my Lighten Up micro buttery sweatshirt. The back
Representing, baby, representing.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's rainy and dreary here, and the office is a little cold. So no, Kyle is a true mom and pop operation, and it's something in Michigan. Gotten to know Kyle a little bit, and told me his backstory, and really looked at what was available and what they could get in on the ground floor, and how expensive processing grows, testing labs, all that can be, and using some ingenuity and getting real estate and doing all the work yourself basically to get the store ready and hit the ground running in Flint in 2017 when it was medical. A little bit slower Flint took to go rec, so I want to hear about that as well. But Kyle's kind of really came on as far as the radar for me is when all his marketing ideas, 1,000 turkeys last Thanksgiving, teamed up with the Hero Project and gave away, which was really cool. Always getting in the news, doing something on billboards, and looking forward to learning a little bit today about your thought process, and then also, talk about what we got going on. So with that, Kyle, really appreciate you being on. Why don't you give us a little bit of your background, where you grew up? I know you're from Davison, so you're a hometown guy, and what led you into to being in the regulated market, and then why don't we get into the 420 pound giveaways after that?
Oh yeah, I'm excited about that. So we're basically our partnership goes up to three of us. It's myself, my best friend from grade school, actually, Sean, and then his cousin Kurt. Sean and I are born and raised in Davison, a couple Davison boys, and Kurt was raised out in Lake Fenton, which is just right around the corner from us. And to get this thing going, it all happened really at their caregiver business. We're sitting in a barn and we're, smoking joints, and, we're sitting there and they're like, I want to expand this, maybe do some different stuff. And then I was like, as we're talking, I'm like, why don't we look in this legal market? It's happening. And that was back in 2015. And I said, let's see what we can do. So we started scraping around, looking for properties, looking for ordinances, who's coming in, who's not. And Mount Morris Township was one of the first to opt in to do the medical and taking the applications. And a friend of ours was an attorney, and he said, hey, if I were you guys, I would start looking in that area. It might be a good possibility for you guys. He knew, we're not big money guys. We didn't come back from, big investment companies we owned or have millionaires, financing us or anything like that. So for us, it was scraping and trying to find. And so what we did is we started calling around, and the guys that have the building that we now are in, they told us no, I think 66, 67 times. And Sean and I just kept calling every week and like, come on, please let us. And they didn't want to do marijuana. And then they were like, well, hold on, let's talk about this more. And then eventually the old man of the company that owned the leasing company that owned all these buildings he answers the phone. He goes, you know what? Get in here Monday morning. He goes, I'm sick of you guys calling my office. And walked in, and there was a lease prepared and said, don't miss a payment. And we said, sure, well, yeah, absolutely, no problem, sir. We'll do whatever you want. So he gave us the opportunity to take the building and run with it. And what a struggle, what a struggle to say the least. I think we put our application in what was it, December of 17 or 18? I can't remember. It's all blurry now. We put our application in, and we then held onto a building for almost 2 years, trying to get up and running. The state to move. The state was very slow. We didn't, and then we made a decision that we didn't want to go in front of the board. Just because they were just killing people, as you guys all know. And so we were like, you know what? I think we paid our parking tickets, but we're not sure. So we probably should maybe, not go in front of these guys. So we decided to wait a couple months and then went in, and got it all approved in first of 19, and then opened up in September of 19 as a medical station only. Which was definitely an eye opener for all of us. And we were told by the municipality that we would be January 20 would be into recreational. That happened. That came at that point. They punted to May. And we're like, okay, fine. Well, May, and they had their reasonings. Okay, they weren't prepared. Okay, fine. Then COVID hit, and then COVID was a blessing in disguise. We're in April thinking, yeah, we're going to be wrecked next month. We're essential. We're good. We'll be all set. And, that May didn't happen. Then it just kept going on and on and on. And next thing you know, it was December 4th or 3rd of 2020. They said that's when we were able to open up as rec. So that was a challenge, but again, thank God it happened. It could be Flint that doesn't have that, it doesn't have a rec and have issues. It could have been a Detroit where I've been waiting until now. So I'm just thankful that it happened then. But we got that thing up and running, and been going out there since then, and just trying to come up with some creative ideas and tiptoeing the line. I mean, me and the MRA fight a lot. We're going at it a lot of duking out emails, but luckily they've so far have been pretty decent to work with on allowing us to do some of our creative marketing that we want to do.
That's awesome. Well, speaking of that, why don't super excited. 420, obviously everybody knows 420 gearing up. The market's a buzz, and we're a part of it as Redemption. We have a venture day. Rick Thompson's going to be out there, but the big thing is there's 5 brands, giving a pound, and we're doing a 5-pound giveaway, and 2 pounds of it's for veterans. So why don't you share the idea behind that and the process and how it's going to work for everybody, because it's going to be pretty awesome. I don't know if I've heard this one before. So
yeah, this one was a little out there. I started looking around and researching who's done a pound giveaway, who's done a couple pound giveaway, and there's been a couple, and they're all with a lot of strings attached. There's always a wheel you got to spin, or you got to do this, or you got to get a ticket, or there was always something. So I said, man, after the turkey giveaway, which was only supposed to be 100 turkeys, then turned into 1,000. I said, Sean and I were sitting there talking one day in the office, and him and I have a huge competitive nature. So, when you got 2 friends that have been friends since, for 36, 37 years, we're almost like brothers. So it's a competitive nature there for us. So, we started looking into it, and I said, you know what, let's see if we can get a pound, and maybe we can just do a pound or split a pound up. And so I started talking to Andy over at Frosted Farms, and he's like, this is awesome. Him and Craig thought it was the greatest idea in the world. And, he was the first one I talked to, and I was like, all right, well, you know what, let's do it. Let's get it going. And then, we started talking more, and I'm like, it'd be cool to do 2 different giveaways, and let's see how many we can. And then all of a sudden, I got calls. I had 2 pounds secured with Ryan. And then all of a sudden I started talking to, then I'm like, you know what, let's call you Baked. Let's call Gold Kind. And then Valorcraft just, Taylor got a hold of me and said, I want to be involved. How do I be involved? And when Taylor got involved with us with Valorcraft, he said to me, he's like, he goes, are you going to do it all to patients? And I go, no, you know what? This is a perfect opportunity to split it up and do it, do one for veterans and one for all of our patients. So us being, Kurt being the veteran in our organization, and we're very proud of that, and we very much give back as much as we can to veterans. We thought, well, hey, why not do 2 pounds and just give it to veterans only? that's their specific winnings. And then let's do 3 pounds just for all of our patients and customers that are out there. So that's where we came up with that and started, going down on it and looking at it like how can we structure it. So decided to do for the veterans, we're going to give 4 quarter pounds of marijuana away. And then we're going to give away 16 ounces after that. That makes up the 2 pounds there. So there's literally 20 winners on that one that can win from a veterans. And they have their own bucket. They come in, they got their own color tickets. It's all different. Then the other one, the 3 pounds, we're going to give away a pound. Then we're going to do a half a pound for the next winner, then a quarter pound. And then there's roughly 20 ounces left over. We're going to give 18 ounces away just in case we have any loss or anything like that we make sure we're squared away there. If there is extra ones, I'll throw a couple extra on there and do it. And probably one to the veterans and one to the patients. So that was kind of our idea is, hey, let's see what we could do. When I did it, I said, let's not tell the MRA, let's not call anyone, let's just do it. And let's see what happens. And then, of course, within weeks, I was like, when I started putting billboards up and I started doing stuff, all of a sudden, next thing you know, the fight began. So, how are you doing this? How can you do this? We don't like the billboards. Well, okay, well, all right, let's redesign them and do stuff like that. So I decided that, I decided that I threw out about a year's worth of digital billboards and decided to put them on blast for 5 weeks. So we have like 5 billboards, 2 different billboards on 5 different boards all around Genesee County, which is helping everybody promote their businesses and to promote us and promote the giveaway. And even that day on 420, I just got a heavy list, man. We got a lot of vendors coming in. We have another company called Old School Organics. Those guys are going to donate about a pound. They're doing 200 pre-rolls to patients between 4 and 8. So they're going to give away a pound right there. So and I believe.
Oh, sweet! We're doing 200 pre-rolls too, so even more.
Yeah. And then I think that guy, they're doing like the 2 gram palm ones. And I was like, nice. So they're doing some special ones, and then. And then we got Medi Eddies coming in, which are new to the game on edibles. They're coming over with a $500 raffle basket that they're doing off. And I'd have to assume there's got to be. I know for us, we're right around $22,000 in cannabis we're giving away, and I believe there's going to be probably another $10,000 worth of ancillary stuff that will be given away as well. It's a big event. It's going to become a big event for us.
Man, that's awesome.
Crazy to think, right?
Yeah, no, we can do this now, and
right.
A little pushback on the billboards, I guess, and then I know you're getting on radio too. But you mentioned Medi Eddy. Is he in the regulated market now? There's a guy that was doing really well in the Legacy that made it over. Eh?
Yeah, Spencer. So Medi Eddies is our neighbor. They leased the spot right next to us. That we had some extra space. So they Spencer leases from us. And we actually are putting their first order of medical on the shelves today. So as we're speaking, those guys are putting their products on the shelves, their gummies to start off. So yes, they just became up and running. Plus they have an amazing CBD line. They got the Nerd Rope CBD gummies, which are absolutely crazily good. And they work well, but they give you that, where a lot of people say they get a little tired on CBD, that with the Nerds Ropes, around that gummy, boy, you're gonna have a sugar high for at least 45 minutes.
Kyle, are they doing the cake balls too?
I hope so. I think they have some. If they can do the cake ball, that's Medi Eddies to me right there.
Yeah, that's the best marketing I've seen on that. That's awesome seeing another Legacy guy. And speak on that. Do you what's your philosophy? So you said both your partners are caregivers. You started talking. You were hanging out with them around the grows, around it all. So what's your philosophy on who you're supporting and even moving forward?
Yeah, we support 100% the caregivers. Look, I think these, I'm not a guy that gets into political talk or even political stuff too much. I think it's absolutely ridiculous what's happening out there. I think leave these people alone. Everyone should be able to grow. They're not competitors with me. I don't look at those people as competitors. I look at them as people that are trying to help themselves, help their families, help people, more importantly. And I just think it's wrong what some of these big companies are doing. We have made an agreement with our organization in order to limit our exposure from certain companies that are out there. We have definitely done that. Some of them, a couple of them, their products sell. We have patients that need them, so we have to keep that product, and I can't let that product go because of that, because these people do need it, especially my medical patients, and that's who I look for. If I didn't have medical patients, then I'd probably start looking at things and thinking about things a little differently. But yeah, leave these caregivers alone, man. Let them grow in their basements. Let them grow in their houses. Let them do their thing. Let them make their stuff and help them out. There's a lot of people that can't afford to come to our dispensary. I want everybody to be able to, but the realization is, if you got somebody that has, I have a pediatric patient and he goes through 25 packages of gummies a month. His mom can't afford to spend that money. So, for us, we do some things to help them. And I get with the manufacturers to help these guys too, and say, hey, help these patients out. And, just like her, she needs to grow a certain amount at home to sustain. And I think you should. And I think that, I just think it's a shame how some people that all they give a shit about is IPOs and all these things are just, are ruining, or trying to ruin a little bit of this business and ruin what has founded to get this business here. The people that grew it out in their farmlands, the people that grew it out in their pine trees. I was 17 years old growing one in the back on Lake Marguerite and Grayling, by the back creek, leave them alone. Let them do their thing.
Kyle, this is the stuff that we bitch about the Brads and the Chads that walked in here in 2018 and think they know the culture of Michigan. The understanding is that we all know this because we were here before this. The black market was thriving before the caregivers were even a thing, right? So to add the caregivers into that mix and then say, oh, the caregivers are the black market is a crock of shit, right? It is. And that's why I don't, just like you, I'm not threatened by the caregivers, and I think the caregivers should be left alone. I think it's absolutely ridiculous, and so I'm so happy to hear that you're supportive of that same stuff, because like we talk about all the time, when people ask us, what do you mean about the culture? This is exactly what I'm talking about,
Well, just in the last 2-3 weeks, I literally, obviously I'm not going to name names, but I literally saw 3 companies out there that I personally know the owners of them, and it's literally these 3 companies are rich kids that daddies went and bought them a business and got them a business because they obviously they just couldn't make it on their own. So you're seeing these people come in, and then they have the audacity to come into places like mine and actually say, hey, I'm this locally owned caregiver guy, this and that. Oh, bullshit. You might have grew it from some friends in a basement and mom and dad's or whatever you did, but you got good mids at the best, my friend, and you got the best money combined. I can that much appreciate that. I'm a guy that goes out and gets it, man. Like Sean and I, we didn't come up with money. We came up with good middle-class families. Kurt's the same way. We didn't get left big money or anything. We earn everything we got. And that's our philosophy, and that's how we do it now. That's why we never hired consultants. We didn't hire attorneys. We didn't hire CPAs until the very end, right before we got licensed, to review everything to make sure that we weren't a bunch of idiots putting words on paper. But I don't want to see the old stuff go away. I know it's going to happen. Nutrition happens. People go, and some people have better locations than others. But, man, I've enjoyed watching this business grow and how it goes. And I've enjoyed people that I've met, in the past and, in the future. But, really seeing a lot of different actors coming out. Brads and Chads, as Kevin says.
Kyle's getting worked up, man. You may want to check your baba.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You know what? The wife called. I got to get the baba out. The wife calls.
Yeah, Kyle, let's segue that into, you talked a little bit about the struggle with licensing and things like that. We had the same issue. I know, Tom, everything's done by the bootstraps around here. So talk to us about that struggle and not having the big money. I know you had mentioned in the pre-show that you guys got a building that you guys can grow into, and you anticipate doing that in the future and stuff like that. So, and then you also talked a little bit about your licensing struggles. I want to hear about
Yeah,
that
I mean,
stuff.
for us, it was a lot of our money that we had. I mean, we all started with, a small amount of money. We thought we could get into this thing for under 100 grand, and realized that, pretty quickly after pretty much all that money went into paying for rentals, all that time while we were waiting for licensing. And, and that was a big struggle for us is getting there. And, we ended up spending so much money on just keeping our place in line that, when it came time to start the business, we had to really go in and come in with 100,000. I think we were 125,000. Sean's probably biting his tongue saying, no, it was 100 this, but about 125,000 in inventory when we first started. And we had to, beg, borrow, and plead and try to get it. And from a licensing standpoint, you just constantly got kickback. And it just was, and with hardly any guidance. And that was something that was very frustrating for me and everyone else I know that has a number of 200 or less on a PC number. They heard all these and they've seen them, and and it just was amazing how much back and forthness. But once the MRA came out and they saw how we were structured, and they really liked us, and they definitely utilize our facility as a facility to ask questions. We learned metric, we learned all these things, and instead of hiring people to do it, it was that was a good thing for our part, which I think makes our relationship with MRA a little bit more tighter and makes it better than I think some people possibly have. And in return, I got some good angles of getting to the right people now, instead of having to just get the blanket emails back and forth.
That's right, man. That's exactly how it went for us, to be a support for the MRA, and to have the two-way conversations, and to have that relationship with your the people that you're working with, and that you've kind of been building this thing from the start, and it's been quite a journey. It's been quite a journey, man. And you guys, I love your passion, and you've always been really good to us. I mean, how do you see things now? I don't really get out of my my bubble too often, and I know, like, the Flint area, like, I mean, how are, like, there's definitely an oversaturation of PCs, right? And that's because of the lack of availability for municipalities that have opted in to allow this. And there's just all the politics behind that. How do you see things, man? Do you see anyone like new coming online that's gonna? Is there anything that people can do to to try and support the smaller companies and the smaller businesses, and in an oversaturated market when it just becomes about bottom line? I mean, obviously getting creative, having giveaways, and involving people in a more positive way, and changing, the script, and having those things. But I mean, where do you see things going? Do you think just things are going to open up and it might actually, like, decompress, or do you just feel it's going to be more and more compression with more people just trying to do the same thing in the same areas? And
I mean, I've looked into some areas that are coming on board soon that are doing it, and it's the big players. The big players are hurting guys like me to be able to continue to keep going out, because properties that were $200,000-$300,000 or $200,000-$300,000 are now 1.8 million just for a shell building that should be burnt down. I think from this standpoint, I mean, I like it when a municipality puts a cap. I think that's a smart move. The ones that keep it wide open, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. I think there's going to be so many of them, and you're playing on who has better pricing. You have better product. I mean, I like to always say that, you should be able to sell your product, to sell yourself, and sell your company, and sell everything, and the price will come back at another time. But it just seems like it's not happening that way. And when you get, some companies out there that like to call themselves the Walmart of weed, you know, it's crazy. I mean, I've even heard another company say that they're planning on being the Dollar General of weed in Michigan. I'm just like, man, okay. So, you know, like, you know, so that's why, like, you know, guys like you, Kevin, Ryan, and Tom, I mean, you guys got product and you got good product, and, you know, you need to showcase it. You got to make sure you do it. And, you know, and I know from a business standpoint, it makes sense to sell to stores that have 20 stores or 15 stores or whatever, because you're going to get a move product. But man, they're putting you down with everybody else, and don't care about your product. They care about how fast can they move that thing out of there. And that's something that we take more pride in, and we don't do that. We just don't. I mean, I don't buy big bulks. As Tom and Ryan knows, we don't buy big bulk. We buy a little bit of a lot, as much as we can, so that we can, you know, get it out and continue to keep ordering that product to get it in, and partnering with the right people. And, you know, and so, I mean, yeah, I mean, the industry in a whole is, it's amazing how many places are coming on board faster and faster and faster. So I'm not sure how it's going to go. I'm thinking, let's get rid of 2022 and see how 2023 starts coming through.
Speaking of that, Kyle, is a great reminder. You first person I've heard mention that, as far as, you know, like selling to the big stores, and it's great. But like for me personally, I don't know, just work maybe aligning with the same people. Redemption's in almost all the mom and pops, you know, and not in the others. And sometimes I think it's all based on that relationship, and just not saying, all right, I'll sell it for $800 a pound and, you know, do whatever. So that's a blessing for Michigan. We have our faults, but I love the fact that there's all these mom and pop, independently owned, 1, 2, 3 stores, people from Michigan that put their life savings and their dream into it, and they're doing it. So that's exciting, and that makes this makes the job a lot more funner, and life a lot more funner. But you did mention something I wanted to ask you about, and get into the turkey giveaway. And I know, I think Tom has a question after this, but the turkey giveaway, you know, it was supposed to be 100, and it was and turned into 1,000. How does that happen? So, like, if you want to share any of your secrets, or just how you use momentum and your partnerships to get it done. And then, you know, you got any other cool, funny, you know, cool, they're not necessarily funny, but they're just, you know, they always make me smile, marketing ideas you pulled off just out of ingenuity?
Yeah, you know, we've had some fun with the marketing stuff. I mean, I have, you know, I have two great, a social media director and a marketing director that works for us that has worked for us as reception and bud tender and inventory. And we've, you know, within figured that we wanted to have them. So they've helped me with it. So it's not all my ideas. I can tell you that. CJ and Audrey, they both definitely come up with their own, and Sean and I and Kurt come up with ours, and, you know, and stuff. But yeah, the turkey drive was a cool thing. I mean, literally I was sitting in the office. I said, you know what? Let's do 100 turkeys for our patients, our medical patients, even if they're rec patients, whoever's in need. Let's find out, you know, I had a list of about 60, 70 people that I knew that financially just were struggling. And I just knew it, you know, just knew of them, knew all the stories, you know, as people come in and talk and stuff like that. So I thought, well, it'd be cool to give them 100, you know, give all them a turkey and, you know, help out through Thanksgiving. And then I started started calling around. I think I called Goldkind, and I was talking to my buddy Brian over there. And Brian says, he's like, I said, hey, you know, I'm thinking about doing some turkeys. He's like, yeah, I'm in for $2,500. I was like, whoa, okay. I'm like, well, all right. And so then I said to Sean, I go, I bet you I can get 1,000 turkeys or 500 turkeys. And he goes, let's do it. And so we both started getting on the phones, calling our vendors. And, you know, we started working some deals. The next thing you know, we had 500. Then next thing you know, I got $18,000, and I'm like, holy crap, how do I take care of this thing, right? So I'm like, all right, we're about 3 weeks before Thanksgiving, or no, about a month before Thanksgiving. I was like, well, I called the local grocery store here in Linden, Alpine Market, and was talking to the meat guy, and he goes, well, let me see if I can get you 500. I said, all right, cool. I go, but I might need more. And he's like, okay, well, let me see. He calls me back. I can get you 500. I go, actually, I need 1,000. Sorry, things changed in the last 2 hours. And he's like, all right. So he called Spartan, told Spartan Brand our story of what we were doing, and Spartan said, "Yeah, absolutely. We'll make sure the order's filled. Don't worry about it. We'll send a semi out to them and everything. We'll take care of them." And they said, as long as you guys are okay with 9 to 12 pound turkeys. And I said, I don't care. Anything is awesome to help. We're not picky. And so then, we decided to do that. And then I was like, let's do billboards, because my guy, friended Connor over at Outfront, happens to be the billboard rep. And I was his first, I think it was like a first or second customer when he got into it. So, so he hooks us up with stuff. And I said, hey, we're doing this. And Outfront decided to donate a board for a week, which was cool to do all the free publicity for us. And then next thing you know, that thing just started catching legs, man. Next thing you know, High Times Magazine wrote up a story about us and veterans and stuff like that. It's a veteran issue that they did. And then, next thing you know, I think there was like 20 some different publishing and news broadcast places calling me, trying to get interviews, doing this, doing that. And, people wanting to donate money to it. And because we partnered with the Heroes Project, and then the Cannabis Social Equity Fund, and we started doing all that. Next thing I know, I'm like, oh my God, this thing just went way, way bigger than I ever anticipated, ever. But it was cool. It was such a rewarding day, man. Such a rewarding day. Darren McCarty came out. I mean, that was, and he just wanted to come out. He said he read about it in High Times or knew about the article in High Times or whatnot. I can't remember how it all happened. And he said, I just want to come out. Like, he goes, but I'm not trying to promote myself or anything. I want this about you guys. And I'm like, perfect. So we made a choice not to promote Darren coming out, and we promoted him the last day, the day before the 20th happened. It was really cool. That was one of my most rewarding things I've done probably in my life.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
I have to ask. I've been wondering this for years. What is a microbuttery?
Microbuttery. So the microbuttery was always intended to be our grow facility. So we were playing off the microbrewery type of scenario. And if you do the definition of microbrewery to microbuttery, it's basically a craft bud that is small batched and small and, family oriented, tested, and thrown out. Our goal was always to put a grow in our building currently, and we were going to do like a microbrew. You can come in and take a look at the rooms, and we had a process down to be able to do that. We just haven't been able to get that to fruition, but that was going to be our small intimate grow, high quality crafted marijuana, crafted seeds, that type of stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
maybe some.
I always liked me.
Yeah, maybe that's still someday.
It very well could. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, we're for us, like I said, COVID was a blessing in disguise, and it was a bad thing for us because it pushed everything, which kind of pushed our plans a little bit as well. But that's okay.
Yep,
we're still plugging along.
Kyle, super glad we had you on and got to promote and talk about this 5-pound giveaway. I think we're going to be hearing a lot more about it in the upcoming weeks. And this 420 is the making of being the biggest 420 ever in the state and maybe around the country. But I know people are gearing up, and I don't know if anyone's gearing up quite like you, but it's exciting. So we made it to the show. We've had some technical difficulties. I think my phone's going to die, so I think we're going to quit while we're ahead.
All right, sounds good, man.
Get a great chance to say goodbye to you and thank you. So with that, Tom, why don't you start us off?
Well, I hope to come see you guys soon, man. Now that things have lifted and getting out, so it's good to see you.
Absolutely, please do, man. Let me know when you're coming down.
And yeah, if you're ever up here, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys were one of our first guests on a tour, and it was awesome. Yeah. So anyway, it's good to see you, man.
Nice seeing you. Thanks, Tom.
Kevin?
Kyle, the great thing about this show is I've met you before, and in just a little 30-minute segment, you learn so much about somebody. And it's really cool to have gotten to know you. You seem like a really good guy, and you got your heart's in the right spot. And I look forward to seeing you up at the MICIA event this summer and swinging some golf clubs and having a good time and relaxing and enjoying ourselves. So, Kyle, thanks again for being on the show. I wish you the best of luck on your 420 giveaway. That sounds badass. And, have a good one. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate it, man.
Send me the details on your Baba.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's called a Storzenbreckel Plenty. I've had it for about 7 years, and it's a game changer for me at least. But the old wife, she's like, "Hey, I just want my good old joint. Where is it?"
Well, Kyle, any more words of wisdom, I guess, for our audience before we say goodbye?
Hey man, just keep slinging the good slang out there, and thanks a lot for having me on here, guys. And I'm looking really forward to giving away 5 pounds of cannabis, and it's all gonna be high test and stuff, so it's gonna be really cool. I'm excited. I'm very much so. Thanks everyone. I appreciate it very much.
Yeah, I'm really glad we had you on. It's what Michigan, in my mind, cannabis is all about. And we will keep on fighting a good fight. And just thought for people out there listening that haven't joined the MICAA yet, it's all worth it just for that summer annual. You get to meet people like Kyle and a whole group of other people, and it's just a wonderful thing. So I just made my reservations actually on Sunday for the Airbnb. Everybody better get on that. They're going up fast. So, Kyle, we'll be in touch soon. We're going to be doing a lot of marketing here in the next couple of weeks, and super excited for 420. So, with that, thanks everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.